Hello and welcome to the DJ Force 10 in Conversation podcast, episode 174. I bring you today a very special guest. I have one half of the group Twiztid. I have Jamie, and they're currently out promoting a bunch of music they're doing. It's a hip-hop duo, and they kind of they go into the sort of realms of rock as well with their new single, Roze Petals. And it's really fucking good. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it as well, because it was absolutely fantastic chatting to him. They kind of go back. They're currently celebrating 20 years of their sort of like big major release album, Freek Show, as well this weekend, actually on Halloween. It came out 20 years ago, and they're celebrating that. So do go check them out if you like that kind of like hip hop and rock. Primarily, that's what kind of got me into them. But they're more sort of fluid hip hop, kind of like the Juggalo movement. Well, actually, it's the Juggalo movement. ICP were kind of kicking that sort of thing off, and they were part of that initial run of things. Went into wrestling and all that kind of stuff. Really cool interview. Really enjoyed it, and they got loads of stuff going on. So please go check them out. Listen to this. Hope you enjoy this interview, because it was a lot of fun to record, and. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who's been downloading the show and streaming it and stuff. It is being noticed. Want to get some more likes though, some more rates and stuff like that. So if you can rate it on your platform of choice, or just give it a like on YouTube or something like that. Spotify, you can follow me as well, and all that kind of good stuff. That would be absolutely awesome if you guys can continue to do that, because it is helping getting recognition for all these bands. Because I bring in like obviously big bands, but also bring in like the smaller bands. Like the last episode was Cross Paths. Which was a great episode, very well received. Before that, I had Elias from Nonpoint. I had Snowy Shore, like Merciful Fate, King Diamond, stuff like that. Earthtone 9, Pitch Shifter, all these groups, and you know, and it's been an absolute great run. And I've got loads coming up as well. Like next week, I've got Ginger. Tatiana, in fact, from Ginger on the show, and then I've got David from Soilwork on the week after that, and then I've got a whole bunch of other ones coming up as well that are all kind of penned in. I've got appointment dates with them to do the interviews, so once they're recorded I can sort of let you know. Keep an eye on my socials, because I tend to put up like just had a chat with, etc. But yeah, apart from that, I hope everyone's well. I'm kind of battling the seasonal colds and stuff at the moment. This episode is brought to you by Vocal Zone. That's a non-paid for placement, by the way. I paid for that, £4.49 for a pack, but it is very much keeping my voice in check, because it has been breaking quite a lot recently, and with all the seasonal stuff going around, and obviously COVID. Obviously I'm not COVID. I've had a test, it came back negative, so that's positive on that. Yeah, I worded that right. So that's good, but yeah, the cold is a pain. I got like a sore throat, bug nut. Anyway, I go on about my own problems, but yeah, as long as you guys are all safe out there, that is what is important. Keep safe, because the winter's going to be tough. But hopefully I can keep you company on this show. Let me know if you are listening. Please hit me up on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. I'm more prolific on Instagram, I think, than any of the others. Maybe Facebook, but it's all at DJ Force X. That's DJFORCEX. And yeah, there's been some confusion. The X does represent the 10. I've said this a few times. It's just the Roman numeral, but it became easy to say DJ Force X over time, because that's what I used on designs and stuff. But it is DJ Force 10. That was its original carnation, if you will. But you can call me Ivor, or you can call me Barnaby. That's who I am. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this interview as much as I did. I bring you Jamie from the group Twiztid.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you, mate?
I'm doing well, man. It's a crazy day, but yeah, hell yeah, I'm doing really good.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Thank you for doing this, man. This is fresh. I like when people take the time out of their day to talk to us. I truly appreciate that.
It is absolutely my pleasure, man. I was I've been aware of you guys for a little while, and I used to live over in Florida, so.
Oh wow! Okay, right on.
I think you guys came through town quite a few times while I was there. And it was just really cool to get the opportunity. Really, I really liked the single Roze Petal. So
Right on. Hell yeah. Thank you, man. It's a chance to try, always keep trying new stuff. You know, we've been blessed to be able to do this for so long. It's fun to still try to be creative and try new things, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, because you guys are quite prolific. Because obviously once I sort of like, you know, you find out about, so you go look in the back catalogue and everything, and I checked on my like streaming services and stuff like that, and you've got loads of stuff out. So it was like just sort of dipping in and out of like some of your earlier stuff, which is really kind of cool. It's weird that I missed you, because I was kind of ICP fan and stuff like that back in the early days, but I don't know, have you guys ever made it to England?
We did. You know what? I think yes. Well, we played London. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, you know, and I want to say, if my memory serves me correct, that was my personal overseas best experience was there. That's one of two, but yeah, just our show there, we were so well received. The love was just through the roof, and I will never forget that.
No, that's awesome. I always like to find out, because like I say, I only recently sort of got into it, I'd say in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I think it was. I think Generation Nightmare was the first stuff I heard from you.
Word up. Hell yeah, that's a good record.
That was a couple of years ago.
Start point.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a thing for rap and rock, so it's like that whole new metal movement was my sort of late teenage years.
For sure,
So that's the point where it kind of hits you and all that kind of stuff. And I was in a new metal band myself, so kind of I was the scratch DJ. So that hip hop element I've always loved.
I love that. Yeah, hell yeah. Just
sort of crossing the genres, if you will. But yeah, that's what kind of, like when I got sent Roze Petal, I was just like, this is great. I love this. This is exactly my thing. And then awesome. Obviously, you know, got you guys set up for an interview, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, no, ain't nothing wrong with that. I love that. Yeah, because it's like, I just love the fact that we're still able to do stuff this like long in the game and to still have fun with it and keep it, you know, keep it fresh, man. That's absolutely a blessing.
No, that's what I was going to kind of ask you about. It's just sort of like, how do you keep it going? Because like I said before, you're quite prolific, and you've got like is it 12 albums?
I want to say that the 13th was either Mad Season, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, but yeah, it's been a nice run, and it still continues to keep running. I just think that the fact that we still want it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like whatever it is in life that you want, you have a passion, it drives you, and sometimes in people the passion just dies, and whatever life throws them or whatever derails their train or something like that, and we've just been blessed to like continue to want it and be happy with what we do and continue to keep striving and in everything, quite honestly, from the music to merchandising to just pretty much everything that we're able to touch, you know. And it's cool to learn these new fun things, and you know, like with the comic book and just, you know, asking questions about people who are making videos for us and stuff like that. And you know, it's really cool to see that it's all still running. The train has not stopped, and it's just picking up speed as we go, and that's cool.
No, that's cool. Absolutely amazing. Like, just a tantamount to the time you've had doing this, because like you say, people tend to at this like earlier points tend to lose like focus, or it changes, you know.
For sure. I mean, there's a bunch of different stories, you know. But fuck yeah.
But no, I was just saying, because you guys kind of like you hit on multiple levels. Like you've already mentioned, like comic side of things, and you're very influenced by the horror side of like films and whatnot on that front.
Right.
I think the horrorcore was a term that I looked up, I think came up to describe you guys.
Yeah. It's a terminology. Paul doesn't care for it very much, but it's like it was more of a New York based kind of deal, but it does by definition it does embody what we did, which is like, you know, horrific rap and you know, these like dark and menacing beats and subject matters that like literally are straight off of the silver screen. So yeah, man, it fits.
Yeah, no, totally. And you guys are doing I think you've got you got your 20th anniversary of Freek Show as well that you guys are doing, and that was a Halloween release back in like 20 years ago, 2000.
Yeah. I was gonna do it. I was like, here we go with math.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Absolutely. No, but yeah, like how crazy is that? And it's like and just to be like all these years later and having the availability to now do some of the things that we just couldn't do back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether the, you know, not the financial means or the want or, you know, something just didn't play out the way that it would have, should have, could have, whatever. But now in hindsight, to be able to go back and still be able to, let's record this and let's do this big production and let's get this merchandise. And we like really reached back to Island and was like, look, man, let us license this record. Let's do it properly. Let's put it back out and celebrate the actual release. And it was cool having them be on board. You know what I mean? To know that they still give a shit.
Yeah.
That was cool. I really did.
Yeah. I was going to ask how that kind of would go. Cause obviously, you know, you change labels and obviously with Island, they're fucking huge label, but you know, and I've had a few guests on my show recently that are all celebrating this 20th anniversary. So this year 2000 has been like absolute fertile ground for albums.
Right.
And it's just fun like talking to these people because like I said, I was in 2000, I was 20 years old, so.
Okay,
you know,
right on.
That makes me 40 now.
I still got you, but hell yeah. I know the feeling, brother. Yeah. I know the feeling.
And I had, I think it was Elias from Non-Point on. These are all sort of mainly rock. But I had Jared from Head PE on the show as well. So it was another sort of rap rock crossover on that front. And just a lot of these bands, like, and they're still going. That's the actual beautiful thing about it. And they're they've still got this like fire to make out and go back and actually celebrate an album, where some of them, I think at the time, you know, at certain points in their career, it's like that's their kind of not it's their most successful, but it's also their bane at the same time.
It's like you cross some people where they're like, you know, they're above, you know, going back and celebrating the old. They're just creating to the new and stuff like that. But I mean, it's like each one of those albums is a stage in the evolution of who we are. So yeah man, it's like we're like excited to celebrate that record. Like that record was the first time that we like got to step outside of the nest, so to speak, and fly on our own. And that was the product of our doing that, you know. And that is like almost the big step in the mutation, to watch as they change and mutate. You know what I mean? Real talk. It's deep, but it's real, and that's why I love it. And it's just cool to be 20 years later still celebrating that shit, and it's still, and people give a shit. That's the greatest part about it, you know?
Yeah, we don't forget. We don't forget.
and we love y'all for it, man. Real talk. Like, we really, really do. We really appreciate y'all, because it's like that's the shit that it holds. Because there's things that I hold near and dear to my heart. And when they celebrate, you know, I represent, it's like, Paul teases me because I like every year, Halloween, I don't care how many editions, I have the same movie. I have it with the glow in the dark cover. I have it with the commemorative slipcase. I have the steel box. I have the die cut gatefold. I have the second pressing with the you know, the director's notes. I mean, I just got it all because it's like I love it and I rep for it because it's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am. So it's awesome to know that other people feel that way about Paul and I's products and things that we put our heart into. So that it's a full circle, man. It's a good feeling.
So where do you sort of like lie with your sort of like say influences or inspiration on that front? Because like I say, the Roze Petal was a sort of bit more of a rockier track, had that kind of new metal vibe to it, and I know you did that on Generation Nightmare as well. And
for sure.
And I think I look back and it was it Mutant Volume 2?
You're
and you kind of had those like rock elements, the heavy guitars, the big beats, stuff like that. So where do your sort of influences lie on that? Are you more of a rock person, or have you always been into the sort of hip hop side of music?
No, I've always been. I mean, I do have a love and passion and appreciation for hip hop, but true to form, I've always been a rock guy.
Nice.
I was growing up, you know, like I had a great, you know, diverse kind of listening sound with my parents listening to what they did. But when I was able to buy my own record for the first time, I picked Kiss, you know, Rock and Roll Over.
Nice.
That was my jam, and it was something about them, and I had no idea that. I say this all the time because it's like I really and truthfully didn't. I had no idea the songs are all about sex. I was just singing along, you know what I mean? And it was like no harm, no foul, and they were bigger than life, man, off the posters, in the comic books, and there was just something about that legitimately embodies everything that I thought was cool. It was the perfect crossover of comic books and music into one new thing. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a major influence. But you know, anything like that. You know, obviously ICP, Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, you know, stuff like that. Those guys all played parts and influences. I mean, you know, us being able to be able to craft the Juggalo universe with ICP was a big part of our legacy as well, you know? So yeah, man, it's been a ride.
No, that's really cool. I was going to mention things like ICP. Obviously, I already mentioned earlier, but like Marilyn Manson, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, all those kind of like more
Alice
sort of
Cooper too. Yeah, shout out Alice Cooper for real, man. Seriously, like to be able to, when I see him, he is an absolute inspiration to me because he's still doing it. He still loves it. He still wants it, and you can see it in his eyes. And I think as long as you have that, whatever that is, you'll never die. You'll never die, and that's it, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Alice Cooper ain't gonna die.
You know what I mean, though. I mean, it's just like Ozzy. You know, it breaks your heart to hear that the tour was canceled or whatever, but you just see him, and it's like he's still pushing. You hear the music, and it's just like, yeah, man, and still recording shit, and it's just like, just keep it going, keep doing, stay in the lane and mash the gas. You know? Yeah.
No. Exactly. And it's just sort of like, I mean, I love horror films as well. So like you're
for sure.
so Twiztid hit everything for me. It's good.
Yes.
And obviously coming up to my favourite season, or we're in the midst of my favourite season, although it's a little weird at the moment because we can't really go out. The kids can't really go trick-or-treating as such, or anything like that, but we can all sit in and watch some like good movies. So,
absolutely.
So what are your sort of go-tos this year of like when it comes to like the sort of horror side of things and Halloween? Obviously, I don't know, you're over in Detroit, is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know what the situation is like over there at the moment when it comes to sort of like how open Detroit is when it comes to COVID. But what sort of things have you got anything planned this year?
It's as far as I know, it's like Detroit, metropolitan Detroit, and the whole just Michigan in general. It's kind of this weird vibe where people you have to keep like a 6 feet distance. It's a bunch of rules and regulations. Basically, like if you want to play ball, this is what you got to do. And you know, we may or may not pass out candy. We had this cool idea where we were going to do little individual treat bags and just put them on the table and let kids grab them as they come by because you don't want to necessarily handle the candy. Yeah. You know, it's like all the contact is what, you know. So, again, you were correct in saying very strange times. But I did love your idea about, just kind of staying in the house and maybe eating some pumpkin pie with Ready Whip topping and just like killing some great horror movies and like, you know, I'm into that. Like Paul and I have always been about of the great horror movies, like, you know, Evil Dead 2. Yep. It happens to be a lot of sequels with it for me, though, too. But it's Evil Dead 2, Amityville, The Possession 2, Halloween 2. You know, Halloween 1 is the classic, and that's fine. But there's something about Part 2. It just resonates just a bit more. I don't know how. And then when you find out in the back end a bit more of the story, like it was like they didn't want to do the movie, but they kind of just did it. And it's like, really? I never got that. So I get kudos to the great stellar storytelling and Rick Rosenthal and the whole gang, you know, like claps all around, yes. You know. But yeah. You know, it's good shit. But yeah, no, we have a passion and a love for horror movies, man. We always say that, you know, like House of Crazies was born in the horror section in Blockbuster, man. You know what I mean? Nice. It's like real talk. You know, we would just walk down there and just watch the movies, and we had to just consume all of the entertainment and just know about it. Whether you liked it or hated it, you had to know about it. And yeah, man, that was our world. Yeah, no, I mean, this is the kind of thing. I mean, I used to work in a video store myself, so back when I was a teenager. So you know, all right, bet you know what's up. Hell yeah, man.
Exactly.
For sure.
And now we've got like on all the sort of like Netflix and the Hulus and the Amazon Primes and stuff. There's obviously some of the classic horror movies, but there's some like, I don't know if you've done this yet or gone through them or in any way just kind of picked a random one and sort of like one you'd never thought of hitting play on. And I that's the sort of thing I've been doing like over October.
I got you going for that obscure one or like a roulette. You just whatever one. I'm gonna pull the trigger on the first one that pops off. Bam, I get you. Yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting way to open up your horizons to different shit. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I found a lot of like foreign horror films. They've been quite good on there. A Korean one, in fact. God, what was it called? Alive, I think it was called, and it's like a zombie movie, but
for sure.
But it's it was just really good. It was just really well done, even though it was like you could either watch it dubbed or you can watch it with subtitles.
The subtitles, yeah.
And I was just curious if you'd done anything like that, because obviously there's a lot of horror films out there at the moment, and
I love horror movies, and it's like I look for things that just attract me to something, whether it be the promotional poster or the little the trailer piece or the way the logo looks or something like that. And it's like stuff like that found me to movies like Houses of October and stuff like that, like, and Terrifier and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Which is a bit outside of where I would go, but it's like I was drawn in by that. So that was, again, kudos to them on their marketing and getting an OG horror fan like me to try something new. Because nowadays it's hard to get anyone to try something new. Quite honestly, it's like it's like people are very like, I'm all set. It's like, you should really try this. It's like, So when you get someone to legitimately try it and it's a great product, it's like, yeah, man, that's a great deal.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of bad stuff on there as well, but they all have their charms.
There is. I appreciate you for saying that as well, keeping it real, because you're right. There's a lot of fill around there too. And it's like, I kind of think of it as, these were all somebody's ideas and somebody's concepts, and Lord knows how they got greenlit, but again, whatever. You got hopefully you got what you wanted, or it was a learning process, and the next one will be 10 times better. Who knows,
no, that's exactly it. Because like a lot of like early films, a lot of like directors and stuff that I like are, you can tell they're of their time and of their budget.
For sure.
So they're just working with the things, but they've gone on to make some good films. And
we literally just talked about this yesterday on our podcast, and it was one of the guys was horribly upset and just really didn't like Last House on the Left. And if I'm not mistaken, that was like Wes Craven's first film or first major film. Yeah. And I was like, I really think it's those movies are like an exact mirror of their time, how the clothing looks and whatever. And nowadays a lot of movies are made to look like that time. So it's a weird scenario, but they were just like, they didn't like blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I feel that a movie, whether you like it or not, especially with those guys, it's like them getting their feet wet. They're learning how to get in their niche and really flesh things out as their career goes forward. So I still think they're cool. It's you got to just represent for the shit. It's better to be a spectator rather than a hater, I say.
Yeah, no, that is a great line, actually. That is great. But
it's E40's line, but I'm using it today, and I love him for it.
No, that's all good. No, it's like going through like when watching the.
Oh no, actually, I take that back. That's Ice Cube's line. I'm not a Raider hater. I'm a spectator. I had to run my digibank, sir. I apologize. Still props to E40 and Cube. Hell yeah.
Yes, damn right.
Yes, damn right. All right, here we go.
No, I was just going to say, like, watching, like, Evil Dead, first one, and sort of, like, knowing the process behind it as well, because I read Bruce Campbell's book, I think, If Chins Could Kill, and just knowing what they put themselves through, like, just with no budget, cabin in the woods, bunch of student actors,
for sure.
And just, like, and you can watch that, and you think, like, for that amount of money, or for the very little amount of money, this is what you can do. And then as you watch like Sam Raimi go up the sort of ranks and stuff, you can see where he's learning more, and like some of his movies that aren't quite on that boil, but just knowing what they go through, if you can catch them at that stage.
Absolutely. I've said this a bunch of times too, but it always blows my mind that as kids, as adults, you were supposed to see Evil Dead as tongue-in-cheek horror comedy. As kids, we never seen it that way. It was absolutely terrifying to us. And that blew my mind. Like when he has that breakdown scene in the rocking chair and starts laughing, we would just be sitting there like, oh my God, like in sheer terror. Yeah. And people are just chuckling, ha ha ha. It's like now I guess when I watch it, I can find a little humor in it. But I remember just going back to that place in time when I first seen it and just being literally terrified. What the hell am I watching? And where have I been? Where has this been all my life? You know?
Yeah.
And I totally hear your point on the on like, him upping his skills as he goes forward, because again, the deer on the wall was kind of more of a puppet. And then as you get to like Drag Me to Hell, it's more of a like CGI, facial thing, I want to say, on the goat or whatnot. So like just cool shit. It's good to see them come up.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, that's exactly it. And I like. I was trying to like think of the other, like tongue in cheek stuff. I was like, I think one of the first movies I watched, horror movies on my own, was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And that was thanks to my brother, who was babysitting me when I was very, very young, awesome. and he left it on, and I remember being absolutely terrified and couldn't sleep. But you watch it now, and you're like, oh,
yeah. I think, you know what, and again, it's a reflection of the time. At the time, we as an entire human beings had never seen anything like that. Like I remember this is crazy, but it was me, Paul, in this arcade, and Brian, House of Crazies, that's the trio. Brian came into the arcade and was like, you guys are never going to believe this. My parents rented this movie called Nightmare on Elm Street. We have to see this. We orchestrate this whole, tonight we're going to watch it. We watch it, and same shit, terrified. Didn't want to go to sleep. So I know that movie did its job. And again, comparing that to Last House, it's like, man, it's like apples to oranges. It's like he's just elevated to such a level of, this is where I'm going to be. So I love that. I always love that. Evolutions of artistry is the greatest.
Nice. And what of the modern sort of, I don't know if you still do, obviously, but the modern horror films, are any of your sort of favourites at the moment?
As far as the modern ones, I don't know if it's like what I would say was modern would probably be old as shit. But I remember like Cabin in the Woods, I guess. Yeah. Like I still think Strangers doesn't get enough love. It's really creepy, and I know they went for it. They tried to capitalize on the franchise and go with part 2, and it just really wasn't as well received. But part 1 is just still a really, really solid movie. It's terrifying, and even with the jump scares, that's not your bag. Even so, still, it's like, it's good. It's a good movie. And I always say Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat again is finally, I believe, getting a little bit of love. Yeah. Sam's getting his foot in there. He's like, he's a damn icon. He really is.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is. It's like Art the Clown from Terrifier, same deal. It's like just new age icons to add to the Universal monsters and so on,
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I was, what was I trying? I was watching the other day, another one. Dee Snider was in one, Strangeland.
Strangeland's a really good movie, yeah.
That was a really good one.
If I'm not mistaken, written and directed. He wrote it and he directed it and starred in it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he went for it on that one. And it's a really good film. Yeah. It's deranged to think, but he gets it. And I feel that if he was to give, or you were to green light him with a set budget to do what he envisions, I think it would be stellar too, man.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
But let's take on to a different topic, if you got, if you don't mind.
No worries.
I wanted to talk about your wrestling side of things.
Okay.
Because obviously, in my midst of research, I found out you were involved in a few bits here and there, and wrestling is one of my sort of like, one pastime. Well, not pastime. I like to watch it across all the associations that we have now, and back in the day of WWF and. WCW and all that kind of stuff. But how did that come about for you? What was the sort of how did you get into that sort of side of things, and what was it like?
I legitimately have three ties to wrestling, and all of them pretty much come from. Well, no, four ties to wrestling, and 3 of them come from ICP. One, as a kid, I loved wrestling, Saturday morning wrestling, Hulk Hogan's Rocket Wrestling, all that. And then when we hooked up with ICP in the beginning, there was a Stranglemania VHS at the time that they filmed or whatever. It was, I want to say I was on one of those as a character, Luscious Johnny Stark. That's one of my ties to wrestling, and we commentated, and it's absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, check it out. I'm sure it's floating around on the interweb. But my second tie to wrestling would be during ICP's stint in the WWE. I would go with them just as a homie and hang out backstage with, and see people and shit and interact with wrestlers. And that's pretty cool. And then the third is when they would do their own productions, Hellfire, JCW, what have you, that kind of thing. They would be like, oh, do this. And we'd be like, no, we're going to hurt somebody. They're like, no, just do this running or whatever this, everybody will blah, blah, blah. And you're like, it doesn't work out like that. And then, so that's the third one. Or actually, that would be the fourth one, because my first one was, again, watching
No, that's really cool. I was like, because it's always an area of the industry I've always obviously watched. Back here in the UK, we had our Saturday afternoon wrestling program, and then we started getting like WWF, like pay-per-views, late night stuff.
Absolutely,
cool.
Absolutely.
And then and then obviously over the years that's evolved. WCW, WWE, TNA, AEW, all that kind of stuff. ECW, I can't forget that.
I remember even as a kid, and I don't know what it would be in your channels, but like we'd have this like in between channels at the time, but before cable, mind you, it was like channel 62 or something, and they would have Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, and that, oh my god, man, that shit. It was just another extension of the, it never stopped. So wrestling's always been a great, like I've been a fan of it, for a while. But being able to do some of those things were cool, and some like, yeah, man, it's different being able to be the some of the stories of being backstage, you know what I mean, and like, putting on Kane's mask and then like taking it off, and then he comes in and gets all pissed off who was fucking with his shit, and you're like, oh man, and they're razzing me, they're like, go ahead, put it on. I'm like, oh, you think so? And I'm like, got my hands up in the air in between. It's like, like shit that yeah, man,
that's amazing.
Just great fucking times, man.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I mean, I got to meet a couple of them when I lived in Florida, because that seems to be the hub for a lot of the wrestlers. And I think, the WWE like development things out that way as well. I was living in Tampa, so it wasn't too far away from the Orlando area. But it was it was really cool to actually meet these guys like as a fan. Like Chris Jericho came to town with Fozzy. I know he lives in Tampa as well, but
I've heard a lot of good about him. I want to meet him too.
Yeah, he was great. John Cena came in with his girlfriend at the time and stuff like that, which was one of the Bella sisters. Where I used to work, this is. And things like Hogan and stuff like that, because he's based out that way in Clearwater and stuff. So,
for sure. Yep.
And it was just like, it takes quite a lot for me to kind of like fanboy and be kind of speechless.
For sure.
And at those moments absolutely. I was. And I've been to like Comic-Cons and stuff here in the UK, and we've had like wrestlers come over and do signings, as you would, in most Comic-Cons and stuff, and getting to meet them in that kind of like static environment wasn't quite the same.
Yeah, although I mean, it's like it's kind of touch and go, because it was like I really judged it off of like the backstage stuff, because like the only people, to be honest, that were really really nice or acknowledged or whether a nod or what, it was like, hey fellas, what's up, was Stone Cold. He was cool.
Yeah.
Rocky Maivia at the time. He was cool. And somebody else, I can't remember who it else. Mick Foley. Mick
nice.
Foley was always nice, an absolute sweetheart. But everybody else was pretty much like, like horse blinders. They were in their zone. They're like, fuck you, you're not part of the show. Get out of my way. You know what I mean? And I get it. And you're like, move, because you really probably are in the way. Fuck are you doing back here? You know what I mean? I'm with them. Like, what are you in there trying everybody's fucking hookups on for? I'm with them. Like I'm going for the ultimate VIP or some shit. Yeah, fuck
nice.
Yeah.
Why not? If you're there, you might as well enjoy it.
Right. And I think that's what was fun about some of that shit. Hell yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I got a couple of questions left for you, man. I can let you get on with the rest of your afternoon. That's cool.
Let's get it.
So what? So these are sort of my generic ones that I kind of like ask everyone that I have on my show. But what I want to find out are 3 albums, if you can pinpoint them, that really kind of like shape the person that you are today. So, the one that made you want to get up on stage, or maybe you want to rap or whatever, and stuff like that. Or, just that first time you sampled that kind of like a sound, you were just like, shit, if you can try, obviously, sometimes it's more difficult than others, but just 3 albums.
I think I have two of them.
Cool.
Because obviously the first one I told you earlier in the interview, which would be Kiss Rock and Roll Over. Yeah. That would be one thing, because that would be like my first, obviously, and number two, I would think it's probably Run DMC Raising Hell.
Nice.
And that's because when at the time Paul and Brian and I were, like it was like I would show them, Cinderella and Rat, and they would play Skinny Boys and Fat Boys and like, all these other like, rappers and shit at the time. And it would be like, wait, so we would like exchange music with each other. So when DMC, it was like the album at the time had that vibe, man, where, So that was a big one. And then for the third one, man, because so many albums are flashing in my head right now. If I was to just start yelling them out, you'd be like, my God, what's going on? That third one, you got me stumped on, because I know that's the last one I get to pick.
Yeah.
It would have to be, and this is, no, that changed my life. Oh, yeah, man, those two are in the pocket. I don't know, man, that third one, you got me. you really got me stumped. Cause there's, yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay.
There's a bunch of shit I could say. I could say Alice in Chains Facelift, like that album, like really, really hit with me. Nirvana Bleach, like that album really, really hit hard with me. Yeah. Yeah. Sabbath, Paranoid, Beasties, Paul's Boutique, like these are all important records that showed me a different style of, I was going to say there's a specific, it's the best of the Rat Pack. And it's great. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of music is just, that's all of my octopus tentacles, man, every which way,
No, that's really cool. I mean, I sort of ask these questions, it's mainly out of, it's actually a selfish reason. It gives me a chance to go back and listen to some albums that maybe I've missed over time. For
sure. I mean, every one of those albums is such a part of me, and I can put them on at any point in my life and literally cover to cover, you know what I mean? And I love them like that, you know what I mean? And it's so very hard to just pick,
No, there's some great albums. I mean, Kiss, again, like you said earlier, is that kind of like they brought sort of the comic book to life, if you will. For sure. And that's how they grabbed me. Like, look at the front cover of, I think it was Destroyer, and it's all their faces and everything. And
absolutely.
And it's just one of those things like, what the hell is this? And compared to all the sort of like pop music that I'd kind of been filtered through my house. So I've got a bunch of brothers and a sister and stuff, so they're all into different things. But and just like stuff like that. And then obviously Run DMC Raising Hell was another thing. It was like that, wow, what's this? I'd heard like, Rapper's Delight and stuff like that, but this was like something else,
For sure. It's like, and it still keeps going today, because it's like, my kids put me up on music and I try to be a part of listening to what they are always, into. Yeah. And we went through some, some Justin Bieber stages and you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
We went through some Tyler, the Creator stages, and it's like, and it's interesting to like, again, I'm intrigued by their musical taste and what they are intrigued by. So again, it's all part of that evolution of creativity, man. You know what I mean? No, when you can make something that makes someone else feel, I think that's amazing. Whether it's a drawing, a song, a dance, whatever your art is, it's like if you can move a motherfucker like that, it's the shit. I think that's a magic and a power that's like just completely unsung.
Yeah, no, definitely, and also it teaches you how they're like getting their music as well. Because when you and I grew up, it was very different. We had a lot of radio influence,
absolutely,
absolutely. And printed magazines and stuff like that. And maybe a band would come to town, and your mate bought you a ticket.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I think I found my third record.
Okay,
you just said it might be Seven and the Ragged Tiger by Duran Duran.
Oh, nice.
That may be because you just said, because we were influenced by the radio, and I'm like, he's so fucking right. What about that whole time around? And yeah, man, that shit, I love that shit, man. I'm the big Duran Duran fan anyway. Go ahead.
That's good. I'm in the land of Duran Duran, so that's all good. It's
no, I absolutely love that. I could tell you stories like, dude, they're the shit, man. Yeah, absolutely.
No, they are good. They are good, and I've met the singer Simon. So he was really nice. He was recording I think a solo album in the town I used to live in.
That's awesome.
And he was at the local shop, and I was like, shit, that's Simon Le Bon.
Yes, that's so dope. We reached out to him, and we were trying to get him on this song Nightmares, and he was just like, what's the song about? And we're explaining to him this, that, and the other, and he was like, I'd really love to do it. We're getting ready to leave for tour next week. I'm really blah blah blah. Hit me up in the future. And I was like, he didn't say no. And there's just a level of respect that I have for that. You know what I mean? Because something like that, and I mean, to be honest, something like that would like, as a fan, would crush, like, oh man, you're just like, fuck me, all right, cool. But to be like, nah man, hit me up in the future or whatever, even if he's just blowing smoke. Yeah. There's just a level of class, and I appreciate that.
No, he was really nice when I met him. He was really nice because it was in a supermarket. So
for sure.
So obviously he was having some private time, like shopping, but it was like
But again, it's like you can't just be Simon Le Bon and just be out shopping and expect someone to not be like, yo man, can I get that Instagram pic with you, player? Like, you got to know that. It's like, that's awesome though that you still, after all these years, again, command that kind of shit, and that is what we were talking about, man. It's like that connection, dude. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like I was saying, with the sort of finding out how the kids get their music now, which is obviously, it helps like artists like yourself as well to understand how the sort of like industry is changing or has changed significantly, because obviously you were releasing stuff 20 odd years ago, and it's very different now. Like how it works, and the sort of it's weird on some platforms you've got a level playing field with the sort of like huge massive acts, because your stuff is released on the same platform.
Not to go with the whole history lesson of it, but what is interesting, because my brother said this the other day, but we legitimately watched cassettes become CDs, and CDs become, back to vinyl again. Yep. You know what I mean? Because when we came in, cassettes were the big deal. Then it was like, holy shit, there's CDs and all that shit. And then vinyl came back big, and now it's like everything is just streaming. And you're right. It's I guess, as long as you're still able to get the music out there, it's an upside. But to a collector and people, like, I don't know if you're like that, but I'm extremely like that I would probably do it both ways. I would probably buy it digital. If it was I'm a fan of the band or whatever, or really dig the record, I would buy a digital to have it on my, portable device. But I would also want a physical copy, to keep sealed as a, or to have open and framed or signed or whatever the case may be. It's like, I think that part of, I don't want to lose that part. I hope that we as the music industry don't lose that part of it. But how it is. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I'm a vinyl person, so I buy records. I've just bought the new Deftones album on there, and all that. Which one? Around the Fur?
No, I've got that. I do have that, but they just released their new album, Ohms. Yeah.
Yes.
And
okay, good, nice cop. Hell yeah.
And I've got Adrenaline as well, actually, on vinyl. Showing off now. But no, because I still am. I'm a DJ, so that was how I was. That's how I learned. I learned on vinyl. I still scratch on vinyl. But I do use digital as well, so I've got the setup for that, so I can be as sort of versatile, because I DJ rock clubs here.
So you can dig in the crates or just go straight to the device, and, with the pads and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I'm the same.
That's dope, though.
I get both because it's just easier. I mean, some of the time I get obviously sent music, which is kind of nice.
It's nice to have that versatility in the skill set, though, to be able to be, skilled in both. That's good. That's smart. Yeah, absolutely.
And you you have to evolve. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to be vinyl or CD or whatever forever," because it doesn't work like that. And then your back gives out because you're carrying too much vinyl.
No, you got to keep them precious vinyls locked up in the room, controlled temperature. You know, like you got
Yep, exactly.
Keep them nice, man. Hopefully one day, you never know. I assume that with how comic books and sports cards have just been going up crazy as of lately, I've been talking to people about trying to grade albums, like how they grade comic books and sports cards. And I just know there's just such a big secondary market in vinyl alone. And it's the authenticity part that gets a lot of people screwed, because, you know, you're buying an original pressing of Love Gun and it doesn't have the paper gun in there, or it does and it's been used. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a big deal. It's like shit like that. Or, you know, even like you said, your copy of Adrenaline. What if it grades and it's gem mint and it's perfect? It's like, what is that fucking worth? How many in the world are gem mint? You know, it's like, you create a census for the vinyl, and it's just, I just kind of, you know, my fandom wants to take it to that next level of collectability.
Yeah,
so,
you need that CGC type thing, don't you, for the vinyl?
Absolutely. Well, see, CGC does, as far as I know, they do movie posters, magazines, Playboys, all that kind of comic books, obviously, and now they just started to dabble in the sports cards. But I've never seen anyone do vinyl or VHS or CD, because I think that'd be killer too. Like there's a few VHS tapes that like command like $200-300. Like people look for them in rummage sales and shit like that. You know, and it's like you can get lucky, man. $3 VHS tape flipping for like $400 because it's that one. You know, so what's it worth if it's graded? That's it. That's how my mind thinks. I know. I'm just
no. That's good, because you got places like Discogs and stuff online where you can buy vinyl, and it's down to the seller's kind of like interpretation of what is good condition, what is worn, what is...
Yeah, right. They're very fine to find to you is beat to shit. You're like, whoa, we're way at ends on this one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's just sort of like, and then sort of dictates what you pay, because there's a bunch of albums I've got that are first pressings. Not that I'm going to get rid of them. Some of them are battered because I've played them to shit, and
that's what they might have, but that's why they have sentimental value as well. But even the fact that they are first pressings in any condition should command some sort of value. But that third party grading system is just always keen to have, you know, as it's not your opinion, it's not my opinion, we'll let the third party decide, and it's unanimous, and you're either gonna, you know, it's like that's what I love about it. So when buying shit like that, and once obviously it's sealed, you can't play it again. But if you're talking a first pressing of some Beatles or some stellar shit, man, come on.
Yeah, just get the CD and put that away.
Right. Like just play it on your device now. Download the album, and you got that crispy boy just waiting. You know, like hell yeah, I'm waiting till you're the last copy in the census, and we get 10 million for this baby. High hopes, fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed. That's always the dream.
Absolutely.
So we've already kind of touched on it, I guess, during the interview. But what are your hobbies away from Twiztid? What sort of stuff do you sort of like have to sort of like, if you're not if you're not writing music, stuff like that? What do you kind of like do as a hobby?
Well, Paul and I have been into Funko Pops for a while. That's been a shared passion that we both have.
Nice.
We've both recently rekindled our liking for sports cards. I dabble in comic books and toys. He likes tennis shoes. He loves like all the kicks and getting the first Jordans and keeping them in the box, or one to rock and one to stock, all the cool lingo. I don't fucking know. But I'm intrigued by it because I can see it in his face when he's like passionate about shit, and I love that because I feel the same way about, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on the card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something of this. So it's like, it's cool to see and the differences, and at the same time the similarities, which is always cool, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, we love that shit, you know.
That's really cool. I mean, comics are a sort of thing that I used to dabble in more often than I do now. I've got a couple of long boxes behind me actually, full of the things. Some of them signed by I've got like Neil Adams. He signed a copy of Green Lantern for me.
Neil Adams is probably the best DC artist artist of that entire era, dude. Like, he's the shit.
Yeah,
I love him. Yeah, hell yeah,
totally. And
now long boxes are the best, because when the spec books come out, you know, years later, you could be sitting on gold right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably are. Shit, you know, it's
you never know.
and that's the thing, and that's kind of what I like about it is like my dad used to collect comics a lot, so that kind of connected me to that as a kid.
Nice.
And then when Paul and I used to go and set up at the card and comic shows, we would sell them, and it was just like, you know, just the conversation between dealers and collectors and shit, and seeing that there's this community was always cool to me. So it's kind of dope after all these years to tap back in and just see how much it's progressed over the years, you know. And it's insane now. Everything is all graded and you know, high end, and it'll blow your mind. Like, there's like, how the fuck do people afford this shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, in my day thing, or your day, our day, in our day, shit, you could afford to dabble in 2 or 3 hobbies. Nowadays, you have to single pick, and that's it. I got this hobby and this alone. I can barely afford that one. You know?
Yeah, no, it does become a killer to the wallet, doesn't it? But no, I had the comic book men on my show as well. A couple of them.
Oh wow!
If you remember that show.
Absolutely, Ming and the boys, man.
Yes.
Ming's our boy, dude.
Oh,
hell
nice. Yeah, I had Ming and Mike on my show, which was really cool.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, hell yeah.
So over lockdown, I managed to get hold of them, and like, you know, and it was really cool because I loved that show when it was on.
Absolutely.
And like, obviously living in the States at the time, I got to see it at a relatively reasonable hour of the day after Walking Dead.
And that was a prime slot for them, and that really put their show on the map. So that was awesome. And they both still do I want to say it's Shared Universe podcast or something like that. They do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like and it's a big deal, and they're passionate about it, so it's always good to see them. And when before the pandemic and all that goodness, I mean, there wouldn't be a con of worth its salt without them there. So it's good to see that they're the, you know, staples in that community.
No, definitely. Well, Jamie, thank you very much, man.
No worries, bro.
I absolutely loved speaking to you, and good luck with everything. I know you got obviously, you know, the 20th anniversary of Freek Show this weekend.
Yep. And that's going to be exciting.
And the releases you've got out at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Roze Petal and everything.
Songs of Samhain.
Yep.
And Mad Season. We got a record called Revelations getting ready to drop on Black Friday.
Nice.
We got we got some stuff going on, man.
Excellent. Well, I will be waiting and seeing what's coming out. And thank you very much, Jamie. Like I say, I really appreciate your time and everything. And
no worries, Marty, man. I appreciate you too, man. Thank you for your time.
No worries, man. You have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too, man. Let's link up again down the way. We got something else to talk about. Let's get it, all right?
Definitely.
Have a good day, bro.
Have a good one, man. Bye.
All right, peace.